Welcome to Beer with Bad Guys, a series of videos to help you find out the bad stuff that's out there and how you can protect your network. I'm joined by Steve Staziskonis, co-founder and managing partner, along with Megan Kardish, one of our account managers, and I'm Kevin Conley, one of the managing partners. We're here to tell you a lot about cybersecurity and how to protect your network.
So today we're going to talk about ransom notes and all the ransom notes we've seen and the things that we think are interesting and kind of what you should do and not do, and then explain some of the things that we've gone through as well in terms of trying to deal with these guys in terms of negotiation. Got a couple ransom notes. Here's one from NanoLocker. If you notice right away, time constraint. So what they're doing is they're saying that if you don't pay us within a certain amount of time, ransom doubles. Now this is an interesting one too. He says if you want to get Bitcoin, you got to go to like these two places, Local Bitcoins and Coin Cafe.
Now, what's the first thing you do when you receive a ransom note?
Cry.
Probably cry.
Probably cry.
But I think realistically, you're probably going to sit down and go, "Oh crap, do we have backups?"
I think I would unplug my network. Why would I unplug it?
I mean,
Would the bad guys know that?
I mean, if there's probably some command and control talking to that piece of malware, yeah, he's going to be like, "I just saw these guys go dark on me," and I don't know if that would tick the guy off or,
I think they would release the data at that point.
This guy here too, he's like, he gives his Bitcoin wallet, his ID for it as well. So he's like telling you if you pay that wallet ID with a certain amount of Bitcoin, you're going to get your stuff back. So I got to tell you, this one here, he's probably sent thousands of these. My concern too is he's got nothing in here that says, I know that this is your system that was locked up. Give me this piece of information back so I can give you the proper decryption key. My gut tells me that if you paid this guy, there would be no real indicator on how he could give you a decryption key for your stuff. So I think this is a bad ransom note where you're in a lot of trouble.
So I get locked up and I pay the ransomware and I get my data. It's instant, right? Like you hit the button and everything gets restored. It's perfect, right?
None of that crap works that way.
It doesn't go back the way it was?
No.
Isn't it just like you open the gate and comes back your data?
It's funny because like with these ones here, you get these decryption keys and then you apply it and then the thing works half the time, or when it's working it's not, it's not decrypting everything properly, and it's usually a train wreck at that point. And it's funny too because you can interact with this guy and you'll be like, geez, can you help me out because the decryption key's not working, and you trust me, it's not like you're calling some big company's help desk where they actually are going to kind of work you through because you're paying maintenance on a piece of software. Pretty much this guy's going to go dark on you within a certain amount of time. So get it as well. I'm looking at this one. He says he's got your backups. All right. This is pretty much the point where you truly do want to get your resume out, because at this point when he's got your backups, unless you have another set someplace, your stuff's locked up and it's in a place where you're not getting your stuff back.
Well, wait a minute. I got my backup segmented. I've got everything in place, and these guys just hop on there and lock everything up. Are they just sitting in there for a day or two, or what?
No, they've been in there for like probably about 2 months. That's the sad part about this whole, like this ransom note. I'm looking at this thinking he's got his backups. Chances are this company here did something stupid. They probably put all their backups on the same domain or something. I can see this now. It's probably one big flat network. All their shit's hanging out there, and all of a sudden this guy breaks in and decides, wow, I hit the mother load here. And then he has a warning. I like the warning he says here. We exclusively have decryption software for your situation. No decryption software is available in the public. So, he's got some broken grammar in there as well.
Okay.
And then he says, it's like, I like this ransom note because it's interesting. He gives you some more threatening stuff to really throw gas into the fire. Do not reset or shut down. Files may be damaged. Then he says, do not rename or move the encrypted and README files. Do not delete the README files. This may lead to the impossibility of recovery of the certain files. So he's like really throwing you. He's really kind of hurting you there because he knows that, I'm sure you're going to try everything to decrypt your files, right? He's going to say, they're going to go out there and try to find a key that somebody else used or whatever. He knows he has you. So, and you know what he doesn't want you doing either? He doesn't want you like bringing somebody in to get help. That's what he's trying to do. So, he's trying to like really, really, sensationalize what he's done here.
And then they'll say call the FBI. Would you recommend calling the FBI and
Yeah, there's the
bringing them in
FBI.
here to help
They're
them
not
out?
gonna. Nobody's. You might as well call the man from Uncle. All right, because nobody's gonna come over and
What
help
about
you.
Interpol? Won't Interpol
Interpol
come
ain't coming
and
over
get your
either,
money
no.
back and
No,
unlock your
it's not gonna.
network?
No, you
I
watch,
saw it on TV
Kevin, you
one
watch
time.
too much TV. Stop. That ain't gonna happen.
Don't they run around
It's
catching
not
the
gonna-
bad guys?
It's not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. And like it's interesting too. Like on this ransom note here, if you read this one, you guys see it on your screen. He's got 2 different emails that go back to Proton Mail, and then one called nutonota.com, which these are like mail places where all your stuff's anonymous. I mean, you can sign up for a Proton Mail account, and it goes off, and you can set yourself up with that mail account. You don't have to tie it back to another mail account for recovery. You just got to make sure you manage your passwords for that account really well. And I think it's held in Switzerland. And Nutonona, I don't know. I think that might be I think it might be in an Eastern European. It might be in Germany. I'm not too sure on that one. But the Proton Mail folks are in Switzerland. They're not. The Swiss aren't going to give anything up. So they put their Bitcoin wallet in it. You could take tools like Maltego and stuff, and you could like take the wallet and then do these things called transforms and track the wallet across the blockchain and find out like where the how many times this threat actor has ransomed somebody and stuff. So now they're getting new wallet IDs every time. So you really have no idea what kind of ransom this guy's taken. He gives you a ransomware variant hint. He says it's ROYAP. So you know it's what type of malware you got hit with. And when you start Googling that on the interwebs, and you're going to find out that you're probably really screwed, because if you got hit with ROYAP, it's like you're dead to nuts there. On this one here, he's got proof of decryption. He's like, if you don't believe me, give me a couple files and I'll prove that I have your data and I can get it back for you. So it's kind of like the proof of life thing with a real person,
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of cutting your ear off and sending it back in a box. That's what it's like. Grabbing a fingernail.
Yeah, just enough proof for you. You want the rest of the
Here,
body or what?
I'm going to cut his finger off. I'll send it back in a box too. Code for communication. That's the one the first guy from that nano locker didn't put in here. So he gives you a code. So this guy is probably locked up hundreds of people, So he's got a dashboard probably. And he's got this dashboard and he's going through and he figures out that, I'll pull this number here and I go down through and then figure out that this belongs to XYZ company, and then I'll ask him for that. So this is an interesting ransom note because he mentioned this guy's probably a really smart guy. It says that right away he wants communication, he wants to talk to you. So he says download Tor browser, which gets you to the dark web, and then he says open the link in the Tor browser. That's a frightening thought. Because who knows how you're going to poison your machine. So burner machine, probably a good idea here. I would definitely do it. By the way, when you're communicating with these people, probably a bad idea to use your real email account. You might want to consider doing something with like a Gmail.
Oh no, I use my personal account. It's fine.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah, you take that risk. That's good for you there. But I would seriously consider getting like a Proton Mail account, kind of level the playing field. Proton Mail, or Gorilla Mail, or something. I would definitely do that.
Hey, but it brings up a good point, right? We're talking about getting hacked, right?
Right.
So if you get hacked, don't email us and say, hey, I need help, because the bad guys might be watching your mail.
Right.
Call us, text us, use your personal account. Don't use your business account that might be compromised, because they're watching this stuff. And we see bad thing happens as soon as you notify somebody outside your organization that you think there's a problem, right? Isn't that pretty consistent?
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, it was working fine, and I sent our IT guy a message, and all of a sudden, everything got locked up.
No, you're right. No, those are smart things to do, without question. I'm looking at this ransom note too, and it's just interesting too. Like he says, this link only works in a Tor browser because he's talking to you via the dark web, and he's probably got a page where it's like using Jabber, or it's using some other encrypted chat or something like that where you can communicate with them. Do not rename the encrypted files. He's giving you the same rhetoric the other guy was telling you, because he doesn't want you dicking with the stuff that got broken. I know that they probably want you to, I truly think that some of these guys want you to decrypt your stuff successfully, because I think if they don't do that, then nobody would pay,
Right?
Yeah.
So that's the other
Kill
thing
the golden
too.
goose.
Yeah. Decryption of your files with the help of third parties may cause increased price. They and their fee to R. Tor browser user manual gives you a manual, so he tells you actually how to get your stuff back. You know.
But some of these places actually have their own customer service. You can email them. They'll give you all, like if you can't figure out how to do Bitcoin, they'll walk you step by step through it. I mean, it's pretty.
He gives you a manual.
Yeah.
He's giving you a manual.
Very
Makes
thoughtful.
it-
Like even the first guy was telling you get Bitcoin at Coin Cafe and like another place, you know, out in New York City, actually at a Bitcoin ATM. So clearly, you know, they want their money. They're trying to make it convenient for you to pay them. I mean,
It's like IKEA. You know, it's give you the manual step by step. Here's how you get Bitcoin.
like
Exactly.
they're like Enterprise. They give you the tools to be successful. We're going to give you the tools to pay our ransom. These guys, they're such bad guys. Says we also download huge amounts of private data, including finance information, client personal data. I'm like talking in Russian. Like these guys are actually
Did you
Russian.
turn into an accent on that page?
It's the beer. It's the Czech
Okay,
beer
yeah.
giving me the Eastern
Do you
European
speak Russian
thing.
there?
Don't. And then he says, listen to this. He says, don't forget about GDRP. He actually knows the regulatory obligations of privacy in Europe. So these guys were probably out. This ransom note was definitely from a company in the EU, and he tells them that he knows that if they don't pay, that he's going to out them, and then they're going to have all the legalities of dealing with the European Union and getting probably, who knows what kind of court system they have there. I don't know anything about it, but it can't be good. This guy was probably a very sophisticated hacker. He probably had his stuff together, and he figured out when he locked them up, he knew that when he probably not just locked them up, by the way, he stole their data, and he figured out that once I got their data, I could not just get the ransom for the decryption key. I'll get a ransom for the extortion of the information. And so if he posts it. And then, speaking of that, this is probably the one where if you get this one, you know, you're probably going to have you're going to have a few sleepless nights for sure. Hello, the fee is $2.5 million. This is for the price of your whole network and also the destruction of your private information that we're able to transfer to our own servers. Pay in 2 steps. First, $1.25 million for the unlocking solution, and the second, $1.25 million for the data destruction. Wow, that's a lot of money. That's painful.
And so I don't pay it.
You don't pay it?
And what happens?
Second slide is, if our negotiation will fail, your private information will be published to the mass media and other public places on the internet. That's horrible. So
Here comes my answer.
yeah, this is pretty
Ready to
much,
go?
this is where it's like, you know, you're kind of damned if you pay the guy for the decryption key and you don't pay him for the other thing, you know, is he really going to do it?
Yeah, that's always a
Yeah.
big question. Will they
You
destroy the data? I know for sure that if you don't pay, we've seen all the employees' names, social security numbers, addresses, compensation listed on there. They sometimes publish all the customer lists, vendor lists. They go through, just put everything out there. We've seen so much stuff out there on these, on the internet that everyone can look at.
You know,
We've seen people's bank statements, investment statements, all sorts of things.
The problem is this is going to happen to probably everybody. At some point in
Hey,
your
this is
life, it's
going
not a
down
matter of if, it's a matter of when. You know the worst part about some of this, I've read all these notes here. I'm looking at, I put the beer down. All these different ransom notes here. There's so much of this. The thing about this, it made me remember that one place that we were doing that job for. We had a client and they got ransomed, and I'll never forget. And you remember this, right?
I remember them all.
Remember this one? this Megan, this woman lost her mind. She was like, just pay him, just pay him, just pay him. And we're like, no, we don't want to pay him because we don't know how bad this is yet. And she was insistent that we paid him, and we said, no, we're not paying him. And we didn't want to negotiate. So,
A huge payroll company.
huge payroll.
Right?
Huge.
Big company, huge payroll company.
Huge
Oh,
payroll.
goodness.
So we said, no. And then I'll never forget, Clary calls us up and he goes, we didn't pay him, right? We're not going to pay, right? I go, no, we're not going to pay. He goes, good. He goes, because I just figured out that if we pay him, there's another whole ransom note that we're going to discover because there was another threat actor in there before this guy, and he already locked everything up. So what would have happened is we would have paid a ransom note for like $1 million, all need to discover that we have another ransom note for probably another $1 million. And if we pay that guy, there might be a third. That was so prevalent.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was so prevalent. I'm thinking to myself, when's it gonna stop? You know. So I mean, that's,
we haven't seen double ransomware like that yet, have we? This is our first one.
No, that was our first.
It was a big hole in the
How long were
network.
they in there for?
Oh my God, they were probably in there for months.
Anyway, she got fixed and she's back up and running. So
Yeah, she's happy.
It's all
Good to
good.
Not
hear.
really, because
Yep.
they got to pay the bill to us. And she's pissed about that.
Not $1 million.
She's really pissed about that.
So thanks for joining us. Hope you learned a lot, and we'll see you in the next series.
Thank you.